from an Australian master stylist with 18 years of experience. At Hair Ascendant, we make you feel brand new.
Today, we are going to dye the hair of a lady from Spain. This is a classic hair coloring technique in Australia called highlighting. After highlighting, we need to apply color in the middle of the highlighted sections because some people have white hair and some foreigners do not know how to do highlights. Highlighting requires working on one section at a time. Once we finish one section, we need to apply the color in the middle. The Spanish lady had highlights done last time and liked the result, but she felt that the base color was too light, so this time we will make it a bit darker. You can see that after we set the foil, we apply the color to the roots. So we are using 2 bowls of dye, and this time we selected color number 5 for the roots. Today's highlights are 75% highlights, meaning 75% of the hair is lightened, leaving only 25% dark. If 75% is light and 25% is also relatively light, today's client might find it too light. However, this highlighting method is quite classic in Australia. This service typically costs around $300. Today, we won't dye the ends of the client's hair, focusing only on the 75% highlights. What we are doing today is a full head foil, meaning the entire head is highlighted very lightly, and every section must be highlighted. Each section is highlighted 75%. We're using the fine side of the comb, and you can see that I placed the foil to cover the ends of the hair to prevent them from sliding down. If bleach and dye mix together, the color in that area will be very uneven. You can see that after we set the foil, we apply the color to the roots. So we are using 2 bowls of dye, and this time we selected color number 5 for the roots. Today's highlights are 75% highlights, meaning 75% of the hair is lightened, leaving only 25% dark. If 75% is light and 25% is also relatively light, today's client might find it too light. However, this highlighting method is quite classic in Australia. This service typically costs around $300. Today, we won't dye the ends of the client's hair, focusing only on the 75% highlights. What we are doing today is a full head foil, meaning the entire head is highlighted very lightly, and every section must be highlighted. Each section is highlighted 75%. We're using the fine side of the comb, and you can see that I placed the foil to cover the ends of the hair to prevent them from sliding down. If bleach and dye mix together, the color in that area will be very uneven. Apply the bleach powder to the hair, but make sure not to brush it down further. This way, I can quickly straighten the hair and use foil to secure the ends, preventing them from sliding down. Now we apply the color to the roots, using a darker shade. It's important to cover every area to avoid any white hair or missed spots, as this would result in dissatisfaction. Now we're starting on the right side, using the same method of 75% highlights. This board is very useful, but some people who haven't tried it might think it's slow and may not want to use it. Now we push the foil up and start applying the color in between, which in English is called basic color. Some foreigners may not be familiar with this. In fact, some clients have had their hair done at other salons multiple times, only to find that the color wasn't applied in between. So every time they get their hair done, they still see white hair in the front. They might have done a full head of foil highlights, but didn't get the color in between, leaving the client dissatisfied. This Spanish lady compared prices at several places before deciding on mine. She tried our service once or twice during the pandemic and didn't find it particularly special, but now she's been coming back for highlights. This is her 6th visit. Whenever her roots grow out, she asks for highlights. We highlight her roots and then dye the rest of her hair if there are any white hairs. If the roots aren't dyed after highlighting, it means the color wasn't applied in between. Now we apply the color in between, or color and between foil. When a client calls to ask for full head highlights, it's important to know the client's base color and whether their base needs to be changed. Some clients might ask, "What is my base color?" It's about whether the color in between needs to cover the white hair. This is what it means. Now we are working on the back section. We have divided the hair into 4 sections. Sometimes 3 sections can work, but to achieve the best results, especially for tight root highlights, it's better to divide into 4 sections. If the sections are too large, the highlights won't be even. You can see that the foil pieces I use are generally small, and I don't fold them too precisely because that takes more time. Also, we don't need to do any additional services after this, so the foil pieces don't need to be moved again. This means the foil will look a bit rough. Some people make their foil very precise, but in Australia, that's not feasible. Hairdresser wages here are about $50 an hour, with a standard wage of $25 an hour. Adding superannuation and work cover, the total cost is quite high. Therefore, we don't hire staff because it wouldn't be profitable. That's why we can't hire anyone. For the back section, we've done 4 rows of highlights, divided into 2 rows each. We're quickly moving through the highlights in the back and we'll finish soon. The back section is almost done, with just a few more pieces of foil to go. Once wrapped, we usually let it sit for about 40 minutes. We aim for the roots to lighten to around levels 8 to 9. This bleaching powder, when left for 40 minutes, won't damage the hair or cause harm. Nowadays, if you're willing to invest in good products, many bleaching powders are quite effective. However, if your prices can't be set higher, you can't afford to use the most expensive bleach. The bleach we're currently using is a Japanese brand, likely a joint venture with the US, but our developer is from another brand. We compared the two. One has excellent bleaching powder that lightens well, and the other has a very gentle developer. Even if you use 30 or 40 volume developer, it won't damage the hair because it's all based. Everyone has their own methods, and it's important to find what works for your clients. As long as your clients are satisfied, that's what matters. It takes about 40 minutes. Now that we've finished washing, the process is quite simple. We just need to wash her hair and then use blonde shampoo. Purple shampoo doesn't make much of a difference because if it's too strong, it can turn the hair grayish or purple. You can see that the current hair color, which Australians would call nice blonde, is actually not a fixed color, but Australians like this blonde because it's neither gray nor purple. You can see her roots are a bit darker, which is exactly the effect she wanted today. When blow drying, we usually start from the ends and work our way up. You can see her ends previously had two colors. Her natural root color is about a level 7, but today we dyed her base color to a level 5, which matches her natural hair color. So today, her roots are darker, and 75% of the roots are highlighted to a lighter color. Some might notice the front bangs are a bit darker because they had some white hair, so we applied more dye there. However, for Australians, this is already very good. Considering this full head treatment, in an Australian hair salon, it would typically cost around $500. Now we are straightening the hair. This flat iron works very well, and with one pass, it straightens perfectly. You can see the color at the roots and the color at the ends. At this point, the client will be very satisfied because this is something they can't get done elsewhere in the market. Clients think we do a great job here because we achieve the color they want. She has tried other places several times but was never completely satisfied. We make sure to get the color she wants. Here, for highlighting and blow drying, we charge around $180, and that includes the blow dry. We don't charge extra. However, if you go to a hair salon in Australia, they usually charge an additional $80 for straightening and blow drying after highlighting, or they might add $60 to $70, depending on each salon's pricing. In the end, the color is complete, and you can see it looks beautiful and stunning.
Want to look more beautiful? Subscribe to us now. Subscribe to Hair Ascendant to learn more beauty tips and transformations.